Good morning and welcome back. Today I want to show you an improvement we have done to our ESD driver. That is to make your work a little bit easier when you are making your first installation using Aclas FC4 ESD. So to begin with, you have your device like mine. I've just connected it somewhere under my normal network. So what I'm doing is I'm installing this driver. This is the latest version, build 012. I'll be showing you some of the new features we have done. So I just run it as an administrator. I click next, create a desktop icon. That will make the quick launch when you are opening it later in the future. So you have to tick it, then install. It does not take a long time to install. Then it opens this login window. The password and the username are the same, admin and admin small. So this is how the driver looks. It has an interface. So first things to do is make user accounts. The user account, you just click all the parameters, then you save, then you close, and then restart the driver again. So the desktop icon we had seen earlier is this one. So I'm going to run it again as an administrator, then use the same username and password. Then now I'm going to make the setups a little bit easier. Now you'll realize much of what we're going to do is just dependent on the three submenus of the top menu. So we are done with the user manager. So we are at the FC4 settings. Here at the FC4 settings, we are now just customizing the device to from where it is to communicate to the PC or where your ERP sits on. So like before, you are supposed to be typing the serial number here, but now this time just made an improvement. What you need is to put the IP address registered in the FC4, like my case is this one. So if I just check the communication mode and the IP address, the machine, it will be able to be called and all the other parameters will just register automatically. Just see how it has done. So it has registered the pin. Once we are done with that, we are sure that it's now communicating with the device. Now we need to set for those people who have a knowledge on how ESDs work, you realize that ESD uses the concept of input versus error versus output. So in our case, our ESD, since Aclas, we believe in making a copy. We usually have 5 folders, and the first one is for sign. For sign is actually the input folder. So somewhere in your PC, you are also expected to create at local disk C. You create the parent folder, which houses all the 5 folders needed by the ESD while it's working or doing its functionalities. So we have this one for sign, which is actually the input folder. So all the invoices which are coming from your ERP or coming from wherever you are printing from, they have to get to the for sign. Then the driver will be realizing that there is an invoice inside this. Like for example, in my case, I have 3 invoices. So if I put the driver on and running, the ESD will be able to check the validity of these invoices, 3 of them, and it will just do the necessaries. If they are valid, it will put a QR code. If they are not valid, then they'll be thrown to this and signed. So now that takes me to my second case, whereby I say we only have one input folder, the for sign. The rest are just output folders, dependent on what is done right and what is not done right. For example, the unsigned is basically when the device recognizes that some of the parameters in an invoice are missing as per the KRA regulations. Maybe you might have your invoice missing the invoice number, or rather the invoice does not have a PIN. They will all be thrown here to the unsigned. Signed, these are the successful outputs. The invoices with the QR code. A hard copy can be printed to the forward printer, but another soft copy is kept inside for future references. Again, we have the non-physical. Non-physical is just a mere documentation. If you check around my my folders. They're just basic folders like any other folder. So you can save anything here. You can even save an image, you can save music. So the ESD, once it realizes such kind of data files, it will also flag them off, and then it will forward them to non-physical. Backup is a copy, just like what we have in our CRV5X, the EJ mode. We're able to reprint all the invoices, Z reports, they all kept back at the backup. So at now, I wanted to just show you how I'm going to remap them. So we have seen that this one. So just simple way, just click from this far icon or options icon, and now you'll be tracing. You just be routing back to where you have saved those folders. So just want to match them all so that I can have quick access to my data. So send. Then we have backup. We have the folder backup, which is here. Thank you. Backup. Then we'll have non-physical, which is this one. Thank you. Then I think this one I did not. Always make sure you check on the root. If they are all the same, you see this root at FC4 ESD, they are all constant. So you need to make sure that you check that one out well. Signed. Good. So I think now we are all perfect, except of this. Sorry, I think I'm working really quick so that you can get everything. So physical and physical, great. So once everything is okay, just click save. Since it's your first time you're making a test, you have to get to the next submenu, click the test, and also click the log. So the log helps you realize in case a document is not successfully signed, where you might have gone wrong, because it uses what we call high level language, a human readable information. So the last bit is try to fetch the pin and the other codes from the FC4. So yeah, traditional we are just typing. Right now we just read. As you read everything, the upload is okay, and we are done with the FC4 settings. What next is the sign rules. Assign rules here. Now we want to take the template, the document template, and try to train the ESD on what fields to be capturing. So for me now, I'm just going to call this one first invoice. Then I just select the FC4 type. I would say select FC4, anyone. The forward printer, now these are the output printers. So you realize all what we see here is what we have here. If you go to control panel, devices and printers, all we have, let me just show you. So the driver is able to pull all installed drivers for the printers. So all, sorry, me just minimize this one, drag it this way, drag this one outside a bit. There's, let me just give an example here. All of these are what we have here. So if you have all the drivers for the hardware printers, you'll find them in this select printer. So this is the output. So for my case, I just want to store this one as none. If I tick none, means there will be no output on a physical documentation. Only the output will be in the assigned folder. If I want something to be printed on a hard copy, so I'll have to click one of my physical present printers from all of the installed ones here. But for now, we just do none because I just want to keep it a soft copy. Then from here, they have the button, just click. This one will help you now trace where you have saved a sample of invoice. So you just come here, we have something there for sign. So if you just double click, you'll be able to get the document. So for example, I called this document type as invoice. So let me just use an invoice like this one. So once the invoice is present, in our case, we just drop in the QR code. So you just click here, then drag let's say up there. You can change the font to around 5, then you click apply. So every time it's put in a signature, it will always place the QR code at this position. So in our case, something you need to understand is that our ESD works with coordinates. I mean, once you select a specific location inside your template, it will always check for such a functionality at that point. So for example, I've just commanded it to be put in the QR code at this position, and you can see the signature position. These are the coordinates. Uh, Much more about how to understand about documentation, you can just do your own research. But this is how the software engineers do their work when they're trying to identify a documentation and how they can align a data versus the physical copy of the document they have. So that said, we just go on specific fields. So I need also to pay attention here. There are some specific fields you are supposed to be capturing. The mandatory ones are the document key. Document key is actually the pin of the company. So for example, if you're not so sure, you can just come back here, FC4 setting, and then confirm. This is a pin registered to the FC4. Is this pin the same as this one? If it is the same, then just go ahead and just cycle to just a position. If you see the preview means you're okay, just click apply, then add, go to invoice number. So the invoice number is also another mandatory field. It does the validation of you not signing two invoices. So mine, I'm just going to capture this one. So maybe something you might have realized, we do not have the field text. We don't only have the field data area only. So because pin, you just need to map the actual data. But when you come to this invoice number, we have somewhere we are calling field key area. So when I take this one, it's like I'm commanding the FC4, always look along this row. Somewhere I'm going to cycle, that's where you will be finding the invoice number. So if you check again, you will also notice that I've tried to even crop some words like the tax invoice and also the date, but the preview has only captured this. So why I've done a large area is because, again, you might find at times this invoice number grows to have digits coming up to this position. So if the capturing area I cycled only just a small of it, at that time when you try to sign, it will not put a signature, rather give you an error like it does not recognize the invoice number. So it's good also to pay attention to that. Traditional we are doing the invoice describe, but this time we are not. Relevant number, this is only done when you're doing a credit note. So I'll also be showing how to do a credit note. Exemption number, these are for the invoices with the exempt VAT. So there's customers who have the exemption numbers. So if you need, you can also pick. Same applies to pin of the buyer. So for example, pin of the buyer at this point is this one. I'm assuming it is. Let me just look for a random pin somewhere. Yeah, we can use this one. So I just pick this, then I pick this and apply. Again, we come again. We have PLU name. PLU name is the invoice. It's actually the description given by, for the product. So this time it's mandatory because the server is doing validation. So you have to pick that description. So in our case, if you have multiple lines, you do not have to pick all, just pick one. So what we are doing, like I said, again, we have made the code such that once you name the function PLU name and then you pick the title and then the item itself, it will only be checking along this column, not along the row. Just look at along the column. So it will just be realizing that everything along this column is PLU name. So if you have even how many 50 or what transaction lines, they will all be able to be captured and also signed. Again, we need to add another field. We have a chase code. These are only applicable when you have the special VAT values like zero rate, exempt, and 8%. We have the sale price. It's also another mandatory field. So the sale price in our case is this one. So please notice this. The sale price and the quantity are very essential because they give the sale amount. It's the multiplication of the two which results to this. The multiplication of this and this gives this. So you need to pay attention to that when you're trying to map. Click apply, plus is to add another field. So we have mapped sale price now. Tax type, if it's not mandatory, but if an invoice has somewhere written tax 16%, you can still tick the tax type, or you can just go forward to sell quantity. Sell quantity, you come here, map this one, then map the upper column. So something also need to elaborate more about the sell quantity. Um, uh, our device starts checking on the values of the invoice from the quantity. Okay, from the documentation, from the document itself, we might see like it will start scanning from here. But out of my own simulation and what have been detailed by the manufacturer is it will start from picking the items from here. So if your invoice misses the quantity column, then I think it will have a hard time for the ESD to sign such document. So it's always mandatory to have quantity. And if quantity column exists, means you have to have the sale price column. And if these two exist, it means the sale amount must also be present. Reasons being, you see here we have a quantity which is a multiplier. So the quantity multiplied by the unit price means we'll have an end point of our sale amount. So need to also pay attention to that. So again, just looking around some of the fields which have not been captured. Again, is a sale amount. And I'm going to pick this column here and also this. So again, another improvement we have made. This time, transaction line can have amount before VAT, or what we call VAT exclusive amount. Traditionally, we only pick an invoice which had amount inclusive of VAT. So this time, we are doing anything, even if it's amount exclusive of VAT. So again, you click apply. Then go ahead and look for another one. Now that we are done with the transaction lines, I think we are not going to be concerned with the VATs. So the VAT net, if it says VAT 16 net, this means the subtotal, or now the total amount before VAT of all the transaction lines, be it 20, 100, 50, any. So I'm going to pick that one. Please note the two differences. The VAT 16 value is now the actual VAT itself, all the tax. So I'm going to pick that one and that one. So maybe some might be wondering why I have placed this data field here. It's because again this customer might at some point might have so many products. So if they have so many products, means that field keeps on going downwards. And like I said, once you map to a specific position, it's like you're commanding the device that always, if you want to check a certain function like the subtotal, check from the coordinate, this certain coordinate. Now that you have had so many products appearing on the invoice, means that field was pushed maybe to the next page or to a different location, unlike the one you had initially mapped. So why I kept it here is to make it constant, because these three identifiers, they only have to be kept constant, like you do not need them moved. You can have the PLU names, the quantity and all are increasing from 1 to whatever number. But you remember when we were mapping, only mapping the top field alone. So you need to pay attention to that. I'll be explaining more on the receipts, but again, I just wanted to make sure you pay attention to that. So I'm going to pick the last of these. So I'm going to pick cash. You put it this way, and again take this one like that. So up to that, now you are done with the mapping. Now you are ready to test if that invoice is working. Now I just want to show you something else. I might find some people asking, how do I get now my invoice? Let me just make some changes also here. I want to pull this and this through the for sign. So I just paste it here. Now let me get back to the driver, and now this is the button on the driver which commands it to make the ESD start checking around the invoices or stop. So you just click it, and oops, it says something like, okay, let's see, it has so might be wondering why it was giving this error. Pin is error. It's because we had 3 documents. The other document do not have the same formality as the one we have just mapped. So this one is exactly the one we have in our preview here. This one. So again, now please check from here, start sign. Here, this is where it has now started picking the transaction line per line. So remember, we only picked the first PLU name, but again, it has checked all the other transaction lines. So that's how smart this device is working now. I just need to pick one, then it will be able to realize there's a presence of others just along the same coordination. Getting the signature info, you see it says okay, and it puts the QR code. So these are the actually whatever we usually have in the QR code is these writings. So to confirm if it is signed, just minimize this one, get to signed, just check along. Remember, every day it creates a folder for each day. So today it's on 8th. So we check here and find they are signed successfully. So this is the signature, just the position we commanded it to be.